Okay, a few things here. You can check this out. It's called Animet Limited. A few things. I mean, you might be noticing some things already. First of all, Animet. There's nothing about anime in this place. But look at this. You see this? Uniforms? Look at this. Look at those kids. See that? See those kids? Okay. Come look at this. Animet Limited. School and staff uniforms. Look what's going on over here. Look at these kids. This is in Nairobi, Kenya, by the way. So, what I'm saying is, in Nairobi, Kenya, look up 1, 2, 3, 4. Who are these kids? Look at the hair on this kid. It's a half. So right there, and then you look at here. They got another one right there. It looks Asian, looks Chinese or something. Who is this? Looks like Dora the Explorer or something. And this is horrible. You see, I see what people in the West are talking about. In the West, they're talking about how they're bringing all this black people, other minorities, into the advertising, encouraging white people to not have kids. You see here, they're doing the same thing. They're encouraging Kenyans to not have kids. No, they're not. This is just advertising. I think some of the things people do is freaking out with like, oh, it's too many black people in the advertising. They're trying to encourage interracial relationships and things like that. You need to stop that. But yeah, so just advertising here. I saw in the video that was just some footage I took in some mall that's coming up here. Just a store. Its store is open. It sells things. It's just the advertising, as you saw. But I have a question for people, both in the political right and the political left. White people, black people, minorities, majority, whatever. Not everything is one way or the other, but I think most of the problems in the world exist because of how we define X instead of what X actually is. So how do you define representation? Not the representation in and of itself, but the effect of representation. Because with me, I've traveled around, so I've lived in different areas and seen different things where when I was born in France, I think that experience already ingrained itself into me, walking around and just seeing the demographics of the people that were there. And then I moved from there and I came to Kenya, and now everybody is supposedly has the same phenotype as I do in certain ways, especially the people of my direct tribe. But am I supposed to all of a sudden now be inspired to do all these things just because I see all these people who kind of sort of look like me, whereas all the people that I grew up with my first 5 years, all of a sudden that's changed. So when somebody says, oh, we need to have representation in order for this certain group to actually raise themselves up and empower themselves, we need women in certain positions, we need minorities in certain positions, do they think that it is impossible for them, or is it very difficult for that group of people to actually achieve something unless they see somebody else like them do that? Now, if they have to see somebody like them do that, how do you account for that first person that actually achieves that? And then when you have that whole situation where you just have quotas and affirmative action, you're just slotting people in there, then isn't that showing those people who come up and actually finally find out, and then they realize, oh, we only get in that position if we have a benefactor from the outside group or from these other people who actually gives us some spots, who actually puts us in this position. Now, on the other spectrum of it, there's white people and people on the political right. They say, like, some of them, the white nationalists, some of the race realists, like, oh, look at this advert with these interracial couple. They're pushing interraciality. They don't want any white people to have kids. I'm like, wait. So are you having kids because there was other white couples having kids? Or are you having kids because you've looked at the economics and you've made those decisions on yourself? Like, who is actually stopping you? Is there some kind of subliminal messaging that you're weak to? Because when you look at these other people and you say, oh, you don't need representation. You just need to actually go out and do these things. And I kind of agree with that. A lot of the people who are very successful are the trailblazers, are people who've done things that haven't been done before. Because when it comes down to it, we are humans. So you look at something like, oh, all these humans are doing this thing here. And if I am the first human to do this thing in this area, I can benefit all these humans. And through that benefit, they will reward me with money, status, whatever. Like, I can get the situation, even just the whole dating someone. Do you have to see some white woman having a child with another white man before you can have a child with that white woman? Like, no, you don't. You're the one who goes out there and he says, okay, if I want to have white children and just make the world or make this whole environment this beautiful white full of white children thing. Don't you just go out there and you find that white woman and you convince her to like let you have a child with her, then you have a child with her if you're a man in this kind of situation? So there's that argument where it's like, look, they're saying the visualization of interracial couples and things like that is making white people not want to have kids. Putting all this white guilt is actually holding white people back. And then those same people on that side will also say, minorities and women and people like that who want representation, that doesn't matter because you should be able to just do it yourself. So I kind of don't understand that situation. Now, for the people who go out and they say, okay, we need the representation, we need to see these good examples of us. As I already mentioned, there's that whole question that if it's affirmative action, doesn't that kind of put into the person that's thinking, like, for me to actually achieve something, I need to rely on other people in that way to kind of give me a slot in there instead of me just breaking through and just discovering this thing on my own, breaking this ground and trailblazing into this whole situation. And another aspect is the reverse. If they agree with the importance of seeing people who look like them being in positive environments, being in places of power and places of achievement. Oh, this guy's playing golf. That means now we can go out and play golf. Because you did kind of see that. Serena Williams and the Williams sisters, they went out there and started playing tennis. Apparently, there was a big move to black people to start playing tennis. Tiger Woods got successful. I don't know if it was a big move for Asians to go play tennis as well, because he's half Asian or something. He's majority Asian and like a quarter black. But then black people kind of went in there and they started playing golf, I think. Did white people start playing golf more because they see like Happy Gilmore and people like that? Happy Gilmore, great movie. Chubbs with his broken hand or his missing hand and he's making stew. I need more stew in my life. Well, coming back to the point. So if you have that situation where you say, having people who look like you in positive places, in places of power, is actually something that's going to boost you up, then how about when people who look like you, your parents, your representatives and things like this, women in power, women in positions of power, keep going on about how stifled you are, how the world is against you? What is the effect of that? If you have those people who have achieved that much, someone like LeBron James being the greatest basketball player in the world, being one of the most known people in the world right now, is still going out there and saying that it's tough being a black man in the United States of America. There's still this constant struggle. What does that do to the psyche of a kid who has far less physical attributes and abilities than LeBron James, who has achieved far less? Because even if somebody just told me, even if LeBron James was just like, on the other hand, he was like, everybody can be like me. We know we can't be like him because we actually just have certain limitations. I'm not going to all of a sudden grow, all of a sudden going to grow like 8 inches and just become a basketball savant. No, I'm not going to do that. But if he can achieve that and say, I have achieved this much in my own chosen field and I still have all these difficulties and with all these blessings that I've had physically, what does that do to the people? What does that do when Sheryl Sandberg, COO, CFO or something, very high in a place like Facebook, where she's saying, look, there's still this massive struggle here. I have achieved this, but there's still the struggle. When you have someone like Hillary Clinton running for president of the United States of America, and she's like, look, I've actually come all the way here, and still there's a glass ceiling. What does that do? So I want to understand, what do people think the actual effect of representation is? Is it something that actually can change somebody's behavior? Is it something that can actually empower somebody? Then if it can empower somebody, can't it also bring them down? Can't it also like shield them from the thing? So yeah, just let me know what you guys think about that. For me, it's been kind of a thing where I'm looking more into, I've been in different places where I might have looked like the people, but I didn't think like the people. Then I went somewhere I might have thought like the people, but I didn't look like the people. So it was, for me, it's been more trying to find people who think like me, like the contents. And then with those people, doesn't matter what they look like, but it's more interesting to try to find and see how they've come to places. And I've gotten to a point in my life where I think I'm embracing more of that challenge of trying to do new things. Because if I just look at my background in general, there's not too many people I can look at and be like, yeah, this guy grew up like I did in the last couple of years, and then in his first 15, 20 years, and then they achieved this. So there's been a lot for me to just figure out how to make my own path, how to make my own position in the world and things like that. And I think when it comes down to it, a lot of people are kind of doing that. So how much do you think the effect is of actual what's it called, actual representation and things like that? What do you think that does in people's lives? And is there a responsibility for people in those positions, in those very visual positions, to actually give a boost to the people who are coming up? And also, of course, parents. I think the parents are definitely the key thing in this. In my opinion, I think parents should just be like, you can achieve these things if you work at it, but it's not like you can do everything on the other hand. So yeah, that's it for this video. Like, share, and subscribe. Links below to the merchandise store. That's it for this video. I'm going to try to do at least one video every 3 days. Sometimes I'll do videos multiple days in a row, but at least if you will come on this channel for the next 3 months, I'm challenging myself, make a little path for myself where you're going to have at least one video every 3 days. So check in for that. Like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye. Yeah, so just one more thing. I was thinking about this while I was publishing this video, and I think I may have come across something that might be part of the answer to this question. Why do certain groups look for representation from certain people in those kind of ways? And it might just be the dissolution of the family. I think the state itself has become family for a lot of people, both in the political right and the political left. The relationship people have with their parents isn't as strong as it's been before. There's a lot of single parenthood. There's a lot of parents, due to the financial situation, feel the need to spend a lot of hours at work instead of in the whole like parenting kind of, or passing on the ideals and behavioral patterns and values to their children. So I think people are looking outside. People are looking to the government, because if your parent is like, hey, I'm going to look out for you, I'm going to actually give you a position where I work, at least I personally don't feel salty and be like, oh, why is that barber or why is that butcher training his son to become in the butcher shop and get a position there, or looking at other butcher shops and using the connections he has to place this person there. It's an expected thing that the son, if he wants, he'll be able to be assisted in that way. So I think a lot of kids who may not have their parents, a lot of people growing up may not have that relationship with their parents, and have that with the state or have that with the exterior people. They look there and they think, okay, the state as my parent, I should just accept that the state should help me get in this position. I should accept that the state should kind of show me how to grow up, how to live as a family, how to be XYZ. So I think that's kind of how they look at other people. They look at the media, look at the general, I don't know the actual term here, but anyway, do you think that might be some sense? Do you think there's some sense in what I'm saying there, or am I completely off target? All right, goodbye.